And it's retraining my brain that it's okay to share your stuff before you confirm that everybody else agrees with you. Hey, what's up, y'all? Good morning. So this morning I was thinking about the willingness to share your work online, in public places, with others, in any way. Obviously, when we make something, when we create something, it doesn't matter what it is, like whatever it is that you make, when you birth it out of your mind and you are then faced with the space in between, when it's only yours and then when it becomes everybody else's, that space in between needs to stay short. Because the wider that space gets, the more we train ourselves to be hesitant to share. And I think that's a mistake, personally, because what it does is it trains you to second guess who you are and what you believe. I think in a lot of ways we live in a culture where that has become ingrained, where we want to second guess and make sure that our beliefs are okay, make sure that everybody, agrees with us. That's not what art is. That's not what creating is. That's not what we're meant to do here. And in some ways that flies in the face of the other piece of us that is admittedly bigger, which is the need to survive. And when you create something that people may or may not agree with, that threatens the survival instinct, right? So it's natural, but I'm telling you that I feel that this has heightened in the last 5 years, that we have become more and more hesitant to share because we're afraid of how people will respond on a survival level. You got to get past that in a major way. And I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm telling you this because I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking about sharing this piece of content that this guy wrote, and it was around. It's this poem about humans versus AI, and it's so silly. I had that feeling come up of, well, what are people going to think? How are they going to interpret this? And this is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous example of that. And that's why I noted it. And that's why I'm talking about it here this morning, is because I think in some ways I've trained that space to become bigger between when I feel inspired by something and when I share it. We have to make that space as close, as short as possible between when we have the inspired idea and when we actually put it out into the world and act on it. We have to make that space really short, because the longer it gets, again, it trains you to show up that way. And I don't think that's right. And that's one of the reasons why that I'm creating this and forcing myself into a container that forces me to show up and create something, because it's doing a few things. It's making me act on the ideas that I have quickly, and it's retraining my brain that it's okay to share your stuff before you confirm that everybody else agrees with you. The other thing is that if everybody agreed with it, it would hardly be art. If everybody agreed with it, it would hardly be art. And right now, this microphone, I'm sitting outside because I like recording these out here, but I want to make sure the audio is good. So I have the audio source closer to my mouth so that I'm not picking up so much background noise. So we'll see how this works out. But underneath this, the mic is propped up on the base, on the stand, by a book by Scott Carney. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this up so I can show you, called What Doesn't Kill Us. And this book is about his journey. Like he goes and meets Wim Hof and stuff. And I don't think Scott Carney's a fan of the Wim Hof organization anymore, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, he goes to meet Wim Hof and trains with him. And this book is about that experience and other experiences about things that make us better, but feel like they're going to kill us. It feels like so uncomfortable that you might die. I think a lot of times at the beginning, of sharing your work and creating stuff that feels good to you. When you share it with others, at the beginning, that first beginning, there's a lot of fear and shame and just generally wondering if you're good enough. And I think those two things are the major killers of creativity, and I think they're why people end up just not doing what they want in life, right? Fear and shame are the ultimate killers of creativity. If you allow it to, if you allow that to run the show, you'll continue to not share your work. You'll continue to not put whatever you have out there, write the book, start the podcast, any of that stuff. So we have to move past that as fast as possible. And the way that you do it is just by building up that muscle of sharing and getting it out there. And whatever doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, is what they say. So even if it's ice baths or climbing high mountains or doing crazy endurance stuff, whatever it is you do, whatever it is you're thinking about or whatever, just stop thinking about it. Shorten that time frame between when you have the idea and when it's out in the world, and see what happens. And I think what you'll find is that you're going to feel very uncomfortable. It might feel like you're going to die. And then you're going to realize that you didn't die. Okay? So see what that's like this week. And this weekend, as you go into the weekend, maybe even make something just for fun that's just for you. And that's okay. Just let yourself know it's just for you. But also get into the habit and figure out what it would look like to be in the habit of sharing things that are coming from you faster, so that there's not this delay, so that you don't, decide not to, because we don't want that. All right. You're here to make a contribution, and we all want to see it. All right. Hey, listen, so if you want more flow in your work, if you're a creative or an owner, or you're both of those things combined, especially if you're both of those things combined, then I would love for you to join the Flow and Focus group. In that group, I share creative clearings weekly so that you can be refreshed and renewed and clear out that stuff that's underneath that may be stopping you from moving forward, that's stopping you from sharing your work. Whatever your work might look like, by the way, like I said before, I don't care if it's a course or a book or a poem or a song or whatever. Like, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's just a project that you're working on at work and you're feeling a lot of weight about shipping that project. I don't care what it is. You have the ability to shorten that time frame, right? And it just comes down to a few things, and these are the things we talk about in the group. So I would love to have you in there. Go to chriscreed.com/flow, and you can sign up there. All right, love you guys.